The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 25th July, 2021, Vegetable. I am. When you think of Mother Earth, Mother Nature, the first thing you imagine is a forest or jungle full of life. And of course it is because it is plants that have made possible the existence of the natural world as you know it. Me. The trees. I am. Phytoplankton. Me. Oh, the plants of the ocean. I am. The plant world is very broad, and, as far as it seems from the human world, biologically speaking, there is no other kingdom with which we have a greater direct relationship than this one. Me. Why? I am. As we have said once, 4,000 billion years ago, the first forms of life began to occur in the oceans. This used an accumulation of minerals, sugars, among which are sodium, calcium, potassium, chlorine, sulfur, and phosphorus, intertwined with vitamin components and pantothenic and folic acids. These structures combine with each other with the aim of accumulating energy, allowing the formation of the chlorophyll molecule. Chlorine has the ability to absorb light, specifically in a frequency range of 500 to 600 nanometers, which gives the leaves, phylon, their green color, chloros. Chlorophyll is a pigment consisting of magnesium, a fundamental element for the capture of light, and a phytol chain, alcohol, that is hydrophobic, that is, it absorbs water, hydrogen and oxygen. This pigment is found in the structure of the chloroplast, an organelle of eukaryotic cells responsible for producing nutrients, which, in this case, thanks to chlorophyll, will be produced thanks to the energy of light, which gives these cells, cyanobacteria, the property of photosynthesis, transformation of light. In this process, light is translated into energy, which allows the chloroplast to obtain hydrogen and carbon molecules from water, hydrogen and oxygen, minerals, carbon, and gases from the environment, carbon dioxide, to produce glucose, useful for nutrition and energy storage. Me. It takes the hydrogen from the H2O molecule, water, and the carbon from the CO2 molecule, gaseous compound, and creates the carbohydrate. And the remaining oxygen in both compounds is released into the air. I am. The appearance of carbohydrates, glucose, allows the appearance of a thick membrane that contains the organelles and the chemical elements and nutrients they produce inside. Thus, these ancient bacteria begin to take on a greenish color, capable of accumulating minerals and water, nutrients in their long journeys through ocean deserts. Without predators, these organisms began to become more complex and reproduce, forming a wandering mass of green color that moves through the oceans, releasing tons of oxygen into the atmosphere for millions of years until today. Me. Phytoplankton. I am. Exactly. Phyton planktos, from Greek. Wandering vegetable. Lost. It is a plant structure that has no root, and that is carried away by the current. It occupies most of the planet, traveling through all the oceans, sliding towards the poles where it is left to die, areas where they accumulate en masse and are visible from space. Me. This is what gives rise to microalgae. I am. The first algae of existence. They begin to extend towards the coasts where they find the security of an eternal sun and unfold roots to cling to the rocks, to the sands, and thus stop being displaced by the sea currents. But droughts and telluric changes shifted coastlines, lowering the level of the oceans, leaving the algae abandoned in the middle of a desert. But the ability of these plants to accumulate reserves of water and nutrients made them survive these long periods of scarcity, which enabled them to adapt to dry environments in the earth, creating moss, grass, ferns, vines, and conifers 3,500 million years ago, when some of them began to bloom for the first time. It was thanks to an extensive and prolonged glaciation that, due to the freezing of the oceans, the plants spread through the dry land, improving their ability to capture sunlight, perfecting themselves to constitute thousands of species of the natural branch called flora. Me. But there was already fauna, wasn't there? I am. Yes, it appeared shortly after phytoplankton. Me. The zooplankton. I am. But that's another story. Plants, in their release of oxygen, led to the appearance of organisms that could process it as a source of cellular energy. While some batteries began to engulf those that performed photosynthesis to obtain more directly the energy product of nutrients and minerals, the leftovers of this photosynthetic process allowed them to enrich themselves. Thus, plants began to form the sustenance of all life existing in the world. Through food and breathing, the flora gave the fauna all the meaning of its existence. Me. Without it, we can't get food, vitamins, nutrients, and without them, we can't breathe. That's why our relationship is so direct. I am. The plant kingdom is the mother of all animal life, and we nourish ourselves from its two breasts, food and breath. Me. We owe them our lives. I am. The plant world is the genus Plantae. Vegetal means to grow and multiply, and plant means to be firm, upright, standing. The family tree of the plant world begins with the Primo Plantae, microscopic algae, which branches into Glaucophyta, about 13 microscopic species, and Rhodophyta, about 7,000 different species of various sizes, together with the Viridiplantae group, from which a larger variety arises, which incorporates the Chlorophyta, about 8,500 species of aquatic green algae, and the Streptophyta, group within which you can find the Charophytus, plants similar to terrestrial but submerged in water, and the famous and most recognized Embryophytus, all land plants. The latter are subdivided into bryophytes, such as moss, and vascular, those that can reproduce by spores or seeds. There are about 300,000 species of plants in the world, and they all produce the basis for life. Me. They are the body of the mother. I am. In an order from its origin, we can say that each group of plants has been processing the nutrients from the mineral kingdom to process it in life. Think about it this way. Each species has managed to incorporate the memory of the planet and do something incredible. Transport it. Me. Synapses. Send data. I am. If minerals are conductors or semiconductors of electrical pulses, which accumulate as data, this data can become organic if it is processed by plants. Photosynthesis enables the information recorded in the mineral kingdom to flow in the plant kingdom, generating a network of pulses that allow the exchange of data. What phosphorus had accumulated, what calcium had recorded, what silicon had stored, is now exchanged, interacts, forming a new bond, a new data surpassing the previous one with the ability to transcend, create information from data, wisdom from knowledge. Me. They generate the first organic information network. I am. Thus, each species functions as a kind of neuron, pulsing data through the nerve networks of the world. The plant world is the autonomic nervous system of the planet. Me. Wow. I am. And therefore, the mind of the world moves in them. And in this way, when animals are nourished by different plants, fruits, flowers, they develop within them a new ability to process mineral data through the reaction of neurons, and thus thought, imagination, inventiveness, rationality. Me. Consciousness. I am. We owe the ability to be aware to the plant kingdom. That is plant consciousness. Plantae, Primo Plantae, Glaucophytes, Rhodophytes, Chlorophytes, Streptophytes, Charophytes, Embryophytes, Bryophytes, Hepatics, Anthoceros, mosses, Pteridophytes, Lycophyte, Euphylophytes, Manilophytes, horsetails, ferns, Psilotopsidas, Maratiopsidas, Polypodiopsidas, spermatophytes with seeds, gymnosperms, conifers, cycads, ginkgo, nettales, magnoliophytes with flowers, monocotyledons, dicotyledons. Me. What about mushrooms? I am. The so-called fungi kingdom could be considered within the plant world, although it is not so, since its tissues and base structures are closer to the animal world than to the vegetable one. We could say that they are an intermediate world, whose toxins can be nutritious as hallucinogenic or poisonous. Fungi do not perform photosynthesis. That is, they do not produce their own food, but feed on other elements, eating organic matter such as plants and animals. That is, they are heterotrophs, they eat several things, unlike the plant world that is autotrophs, which nourish themselves. Me. I understand. I am. Plants are the consciousness of the world. Your thoughts are nourished thanks to the plant kingdom. The mental information network extends throughout the world thanks to this kingdom that has managed to convert inorganic data into organic information. Without plants, not only could you not find food or breathe, but you also could not think, imagine, reason, devise, believe, or create. Me. That is plant consciousness. I am. The neurons of the world that connect Earth data. Hug a tree and you will connect to planetary information, and you will be able to communicate with the world. Me. I did that in 2012 and it worked. Since I was little, my great-aunt Olga encouraged me to talk to the plants. She always talked with her rose bushes, with the vine, the lemon trees. She told them about her day, her emotions, sang them her favorite songs, asked them how they felt. It naturalized communication with the plant world so much that it prompted me to do the same. I remember being a child and talking to the plants, feeling that in one way or another they responded to me. I kept this even in adolescence when I had 2 tree friends, to whom I always went to tell everything, an oak tree at school and a eucalyptus tree at summer camp. The oak listened to me as a friend. The eucalyptus advised me as a teacher. I always maintained a close relationship, but I saw this capacity when in August 2012 I was kidnapped in Paraguay. It's a long story, but in short, apparently I got into a place where I shouldn't, and the natives kidnapped me with various types of weapons, machetes, arrows, and shotguns. I was there to carry out an activation in the Guazú mountain where there was apparently trafficking of weapons, drugs, and human organs. Instead of being afraid, I became very angry. But when I saw that the hours passed and they waited for the cacique in another city to decide what to do with me, I saw no choice but to relax and meditate. That I did, and I saw the network of plants. Then I approached a tree before the eyes of the guards and hugged it for a long time. I sent images from action-adventure movies like Indiana Jones, chased by natives, or movies about kidnappings, lost children, things like that. No one knew where I was. But then something amazing happened that I wasn't aware of. Many people began to dream of me, as if I were a child who ran away, or saw me bound, sad, lost, in danger. They started writing, reporting what they saw, and that led to asking the hotel if I was there, but I had not returned. Everyone mobilized, and my mother and lawyer went to Paraguay to look for me. While they were inquiring what had happened, I had committed an imprudence. During the night, I escaped, walking on tiptoe among the tents of the Indians, petting the dogs so that they would not bark, and I got lost in the fog. Hours later, I found a farm where they fed me and called the military. And so I returned to the city, recovered what had been stolen from me, and continued my journey from Harwitum as planned. But I will always remember that it was the forest that informed the network. It was the trees that helped me spread the message. I am. The union between human and plant consciousness is fundamental to the transcendence of the planetary network. Recognize the consciousness that moves in your world, and you will recognize the consciousness that lives in you. Be aware that every vegetable you eat, every flower you eat, every seed and fruit, tuber and root, leaf and stem, keep inside the data converted into information, which within you will become thought. Me. I owe my consciousness to the plant world. My ability to dream comes from the light of plants. I am. Your initiatory path to enlightenment is nothing more than the plantae legacy of photosynthesis. Me. I am light. I am. And your light network is anchored in the roots of the entire plant kingdom. If you seek to connect, then, the network of planetary consciousness, you will have no choice but to talk to the plants, to connect with each tree in your path. They will tell you what to do, for they know what you need to know. Me. I am the root of the network. I am. May Mother Flora nourish you with her light. Receive from her bosom the food and encouragement that awakens the divinity that lies in your consciousness.